floating gardens while their parents tended to the bioluminescent crops that fed the colony. The air hummed with the gentle sounds of a civilization that had never known war. Veltar stood at the observation deck of the central command tower, watching the daily routine of his people. His blue-scaled skin shimmered in the alien sunlight as he reviewed the morning reports. Trade shipments were on schedule, the weather control systems were functioning perfectly, and the population was growing steadily. It was supposed to be another ordinary day. The first sign of trouble came from the deep space sensors. A low alarm chimed in the command center, drawing the attention of the duty officer. Zixan, the colony's defense coordinator, frowned at the readings on her console. The sensors showed a massive energy signature approaching from the outer system. "Veltar, you need to see this," Zixan called out. Her voice tight with worry, Veltar hurried to the sensor station, his three-fingered hands dancing across the holographic controls. The display showed a fleet of 67 vessels moving toward their planet. The ships were large, angular, and painted in the dark red colors of the Vorthan Empire. "By the ancient stars," Veltar whispered. "How did they find us?" The Vorthans were known throughout the galaxy as conquerors. They swept through star systems like a plague, demanding submission or delivering destruction. Their empire had grown by consuming peaceful worlds, and they showed no mercy to those who refused to bow. "They're broadcasting a message," Zixan reported, her fingers shaking as she activated the communication array. The holographic display flickered to life, showing the scarred face of a Vorthan commander. His red eyes burned with cruel intelligence, and when he spoke, his voice carried the weight of absolute authority. "Inhabitants of this world," the commander began, "I am Fleet Commander Krexmal of the Vorthan Empire. Your system now belongs to us. You have one standard day to surrender your government and submit to imperial rule. Resist, and your world will burn." The transmission ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Veltar felt his heart racing as the reality of their situation sank in. The Zephyrians had no military fleet, no weapons capable of fighting a space battle. They were farmers and artists, not soldiers. "What are our options?" Veltar asked. Though he already knew the answer, Zixan pulled up the colony's defense systems on her console. "We have planetary shields, but they won't last long under sustained bombardment. The escape pods can evacuate maybe 10% of the population before they arrive. The rest—" She didn't need to finish. Veltar closed his eyes, feeling the weight of 40 million lives pressing down on him. His people had fled their original homeworld centuries ago to escape a similar fate. They had found peace on this distant world, believing they were safe from the wars that plagued the galaxy. Now those wars had found them again. "Send a message to the Galactic Council," he ordered. "Request immediate military assistance." "Sir, the nearest council fleet is 6 days away," Zixan replied. "The Vorthans will be here in 18 hours. Veltar nodded grimly. He had expected as much. The Galactic Council was a peacekeeping organization, not a military force. They relied on diplomacy and economic pressure to resolve conflicts. Against an empire like the Vorthans, such methods were useless. "Do it anyway," he said. "At least there will be a record of what happened here." As Zixan prepared the transmission, Veltar walked to the ancient communication array in the corner of the command center. The device was old, predating the colony by several centuries. It had been salvaged from their original homeworld and brought here as a backup system. The technology was crude by modern standards, but it was reliable. "I'm going to try the old emergency protocols," Veltar explained. "Maybe we can reach someone closer." He activated the array, feeling the familiar vibration as the massive dish began to rotate. The system was designed to send distress signals on multiple frequencies, casting a wide net in hopes of finding help. Veltar input the coordinates of every known peaceful civilization within range, along with a desperate plea for military aid. What he didn't know was that the array's frequency calibration had drifted over the centuries. The signal that should have reached the nearby Altarian Republic instead bounced through space on an entirely different wavelength. It traveled for light years, crossing the void between star systems. until it reached a small monitoring station in Earth's Kuiper Belt. Dr. Karen White was halfway through her third cup of coffee when the alert chimed on her console. The deep space monitoring station was quiet most days, picking up background radiation and the occasional signal from Earth's outer colonies. Karen had been stationed here for 2 years, and this was the first time she had detected anything truly unusual. The signal was clearly artificial, but it wasn't coming from any human source. Karen's hands moved quickly across her controls, isolating the transmission and running it through the translation software. The process took several minutes, and what she found made her forget all about her coffee. "This is Colony Administrator Veltar of New Haven Colony, Kepler 442b, the translated message began. "We are under attack by the Vorthan Empire. 67 warships approach our world. We have no military defenses. 40 million civilians face extinction. Please, anyone who receives this message, we need immediate military assistance. Our coordinates are attached. Time is running out." Karen stared at the message, her mind racing. First contact with an alien civilization, and it was a cry for help. She knew the protocols called for her to report the signal to her superiors and wait for instructions. But the desperation in the message was clear. Even through the translation software, she opened a priority channel to Earth Command, her fingers flying across the keyboard as she composed her report. The message included the full translation, the signal analysis, and her recommendation for immediate action. She knew she was risking her career by making such a bold suggestion, but the alternative was letting 40 million beings die while bureaucrats debated. General Paul Davis received the report within minutes. The old soldier had fought in the colony wars and understood the value of quick decisions. He read Karen's analysis twice, then reached for his secure communicator. "Get me Admiral Grant," he ordered. "Priority Alpha, we're going to war." In the depths of space, the Vorthan fleet continued its approach to Kepler 442b. Their sensors showed no signs of resistance, no military vessels moving to intercept them. It would be another easy conquest, another world added to their empire. They had no idea that their attack had awakened something far more dangerous than anything they had ever encountered. Humanity was about to make its entrance onto the galactic stage, and the universe would never be the same. Veltar stood at his observation deck, watching the enemy fleet grow larger in the sky. He had done everything he could. Now all he could do was wait and hope that someone, somewhere, had heard their call for help, unknown to him, that someone was already mobilizing the most powerful military force the galaxy had ever seen. The human fleet was preparing to jump to hyperspace, carrying weapons and warriors forged in the crucible of Earth's harsh environment. The Vorthans thought they were hunting helpless prey. Instead, they had summoned apex predators from humanity's Deathworld, and the hunters were about to become the hunted. The urgency became more clear. 40 million lives hung in the balance, and humanity had been asked to help. "How long do we have?" she asked General Davis, who had arrived from Earth Command just minutes earlier. "The alien transmission suggests 18 hours before the enemy. Fleet arrives at their world," Davis replied. "Our fastest ships can reach the Kepler 442b system in 16 hours if they push their engines to maximum." Lisa nodded, her mind already working through the logistics. The Fifth Fleet had been her command for 2 years, and she knew every ship and every crew member by name. They were humanity's finest, equipped with the most advanced technology Earth could produce, but they had never faced an alien enemy before. "What do we know about these Vorthans?" she asked. Captain Jake Morrison, commander of the flagship UES Endeavour, stepped forward with a datapad in his hands. "Intelligence has been working on that since we received the signal. Based on the alien communication patterns we've intercepted, the Vorthans appear to be a military empire that conquers weaker civilizations. They've taken 17 star systems in the past decade." "And the species asking for help?" Lisa asked. "The Zephyrians seem to be peaceful farmers and artists, no military to speak of." They're sitting ducks, Morrison replied grimly. Lisa walked to the tactical display that showed the current position of the Fifth Fleet. 12 heavy cruisers floated in formation around Luna Base, their sleek hulls gleaming in the reflected light of Earth. The ships were beautiful in their deadly efficiency, each one carrying enough firepower to level a city. Status report on the fleet, she ordered. Commander Amy Torres, the fleet's chief tactical officer, activated her console. All 12 heavy cruisers are at full combat readiness. The UES Endeavour, UES Defiant, and UES Warrior are fully loaded with kinetic weapons and nuclear missiles. The support vessels are stocked with supplies for extended operations. What about the new ships? Lisa asked. Torres smiled slightly. The 3 prototype dreadnoughts completed their trials yesterday. UES Titan, UES Goliath, and UES Leviathan are ready for combat deployment. Their railgun systems are fully operational. Lisa felt a surge of satisfaction. The dreadnoughts were humanity's newest weapons, massive ships designed to dominate space battles. Each one carried weapons that could crack a moon in half. If they were going to make first contact with hostile aliens, they would do it with overwhelming force. Admiral, I need to voice my concerns, Morrison said carefully. We're jumping into an unknown situation. We don't know the enemy's capabilities, their numbers, or their technology. Are we sure this is the right course of action? Lisa understood his caution. Morrison was a good officer and his concerns were valid. But she also knew that this moment would define humanity's future in the galaxy. They could either be seen as saviors or as cowards who ignored a cry for help. Captain, humanity has been preparing for this day since we first looked at the stars, she replied. We've built these ships, trained these crews, and developed these weapons for exactly this kind of situation. We're not going to let 40 million innocent beings die on our watch. Morrison nodded, accepting her decision. Then we'd better make sure we win. The command center buzzed with activity as the fleet prepared for departure. Lieutenant Commander Steve Parker, the intelligence officer, worked frantically to decode more alien transmissions. Every piece of information about the enemy could make the difference between victory and defeat. I'm picking up more Vorthan communications, Parker reported. They're using standard siege tactics, orbital bombardment of military targets while demanding surrender. They seem confident this will be an easy victory. Marine Colonel Ryan Brooks entered the command center, his combat gear already strapped on. Admiral, my Marines are ready for deployment. 3,000 of our best, equipped for hostile environment operations. Lisa looked at the grizzled Marine commander. Brooks had fought in every major conflict of the past decade, and his men trusted him completely. If they needed ground forces, there was no one better to lead them. What's your assessment, Colonel? She asked. These Vorthans sound like bullies, Brooks replied bluntly. They're used to picking on the weak. They've probably never faced an enemy that fights back hard. My boys are ready to show them what real soldiers look like. The fleet's chief engineer, Lavra Martinez, approached with her own report. Admiral, all ships are reporting green across the board. Reactors are at full power, weapon systems are armed, and the hyperspace drives are ready for jump. Lisa nodded, then turned to address the entire command staff. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to make history. Humanity is about to announce its presence to the galaxy, and we're going to do it by saving 40 million lives. I want every crew member to understand what we're fighting for. She activated the fleet-wide communication system, her voice carrying to every ship in the formation. This is Admiral Grant to all ships of the Fifth Fleet. We have received a distress call from a peaceful alien civilization under attack by a hostile empire. 40 million innocent lives are at stake. Today we show the galaxy what humanity stands. For we protect the innocent, we fight for the oppressed, and we never back down from a righteous cause. All ships, prepare for a hyperspace jump. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Across the fleet, 15,000 crew members acknowledged the order with a unified "Aye, Admiral." A sound echoed through the command center. Filled with determination and pride, Commander Torres began the jump sequence, her fingers dancing. across the navigation controls. Hyperspace coordinates locked in, all ships reporting ready for jump. Estimated travel time, 15 hours, 43 minutes. Lisa took one last look at Earth through the command center's viewport. The blue marble hung in space like a jewel, beautiful and peaceful. But she knew that Earth's children were about to go to war for the first time against an alien enemy. "All ships, execute jump," she ordered. The space around Luna Base erupted in brilliant flashes of light as 15 warships disappeared into hyperspace. The most powerful military force humanity had ever assembled was racing across the galaxy to answer a desperate call for help. In the depths of hyperspace, the fleet traveled faster than light toward their destination. The crew members checked their weapons, reviewed their battle plans, and prepared for the fight of their lives. They were soldiers from Earth, forged in the crucible of humanity's violent history, and they were about to teach the galaxy what it meant to face warriors from a Deathworld. Captain Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Endeavor, watching the swirling colors of hyperspace through the view screen. "What do you think we'll find when we get there?" he asked his tactical officer. Lieutenant Nicole Hayes checked her console one more time. "I think we'll find out if humanity is ready to take its place among the stars, sir. And I think those Vorthans are about to get the surprise of their lives." The fleet continued its journey through hyperspace, carrying the hopes of two civilizations and the fury of Earth's finest warriors. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity did not abandon its friends, and that attacking innocent people while humans were watching was a very dangerous mistake. Behind them, Earth continued its rotation, unaware that its children were about to fight the most important battle in human history. The peaceful blue world had sent forth its guardians, and they would not return until justice was done. Gleaming under the light of the distant star. Admiral Lisa Grant stood on the bridge of the UES Endeavor, watching as her tactical display came alive with sensor readings. "Report," she ordered, her voice calm despite the tension in the air. Lieutenant Commander Steve Parker hunched over his console, his fingers flying across the controls as he analyzed the incoming data. "Admiral, I'm reading 67 enemy vessels in orbit around the fourth planet. They're maintaining a standard blockade formation, with heavy cruisers on the outer perimeter and smaller ships closer to the planet." Captain Jake Morrison moved to stand beside the Admiral, studying the tactical display. "They're not trying to hide. This is a show of force designed to intimidate the defenders into surrendering." "What about the planet itself?" Lisa asked. Parker adjusted his sensors, focusing on the world below the enemy fleet. "The planet shows signs of advanced civilization. I'm detecting multiple cities, agricultural zones, and what appears to be a planetary defense grid. But the grid is minimal, designed more for asteroid defense than military action." Lisa nodded grimly. The Zephyrians had built a peaceful society, never expecting to face a military invasion. Their world was beautiful and defenseless, exactly the kind of target that predators like the Vorthans preferred. "Enemy fleet composition?" she asked. Commander Amy Torres activated her analysis program, comparing the alien ships to human military standards. "The Vorthan fleet consists of 12 heavy battleships, 36 cruisers, and 19 support vessels. Total crew estimated at over 100,000. They outgun us by a factor of 4 to 1. Morrison frowned at the numbers. "Those aren't good odds, Admiral." "They're not supposed to be," Lisa replied. "The Vorthans chose this target because they expected an easy victory. They're about to learn that the galaxy is a more dangerous place than they thought." The communication system chimed, and Parker looked up from his console. "Admiral, I'm receiving a transmission from the planet. It's the same frequency as the original distress call." "Put it through," Lisa ordered. The main screen flickered to life, showing the blue-scaled face of Veltar, the Zephyrian colony administrator. His expression was a mixture of hope and desperation as he spoke. "Unknown vessels, I am Veltar of New Haven Colony. Are you responding to our distress call?" Please, we need immediate assistance. The Vorthan fleet is preparing to begin orbital bombardment in less than 2 hours. Lisa stepped forward, activating the communication system. This is Admiral Lisa Grant of the Human Fifth Fleet. We received your distress call and have come to provide assistance. Can you give us a full tactical assessment of the situation? Veltar's eyes widened in surprise. Humans, we have never heard of your species. Are you members of the Galactic Council? We are not, Lisa replied honestly. But we believe in protecting innocent lives. Tell us about the Vorthans. A new face appeared on the screen, this one belonging to a female Zephyrian with silver markings on her blue skin. I am Zixan, Defense Coordinator for the colony. Admiral, I must warn you that the Vorthans are one of the most feared military powers in the galaxy. They have conquered 17 star systems in the past decade. Their weapons and tactics are considered nearly invincible. Parker leaned toward the Admiral. Ma'am, I'm detecting increased energy signatures from the Vorthan fleet. They've noticed our arrival. Lisa turned back to the screen. Zixan, we need you to coordinate with our forces. Transfer all available tactical data about the Vorthans to our systems. We're going to try to resolve this diplomatically first. Admiral, Morrison said quietly, with respect, these don't seem like the type of people who respond to diplomacy. Maybe not, Lisa agreed. But we're going to give them the chance to leave peacefully. If they refuse, then we'll show them what happens when you threaten innocent people while humans are watching. The tactical display updated as the Zephyrian. Data flowed into the human systems. The Vorthan ships were impressive by galactic standards, with heavy armor and powerful energy weapons. But Parker noticed something interesting as he studied the designs. Admiral, these ships are built for fighting other energy-based civilizations. Their armor is designed to deflect directed energy weapons, and their shields are optimized for the same purpose. Torres caught on immediately. They've never faced kinetic weapons or nuclear missiles. Their defensive systems aren't designed for that kind of attack. Lisa smiled grimly. Then we have an advantage they don't know about. Open a channel to the Vorthan fleet. The communication system activated and the scarred face of Fleet Commander Krexmal appeared on the screen. His red eyes burned with contempt as he studied the human officers. So the prey have found allies, he sneered. I am Fleet Commander Krexmal of the Vorthan Empire. You have entered Imperial space without authorization. Withdraw immediately, or face the consequences. Lisa stepped forward, her voice steady and professional. Commander, I am Admiral Lisa Grant of the Human Fifth Fleet. We are here in response to a distress call from the Zephyrian colony. They are under our protection. I am ordering you to withdraw from this system immediately. Krexmal laughed, a harsh sound that echoed through the bridge. Humans? I have never heard of your species. Another weak race from some forgotten rim world, no doubt. You field 15 ships against my 67. Do you think to frighten me with such a pathetic force? Commander, I'm giving you one chance to leave peacefully, Lisa replied. Take your fleet and go. Find another target for your aggression. The Vorthan commander's expression grew even more contemptuous. You dare threaten me? The Vorthan Empire has conquered species far more advanced than yours. We have weapons that can crack moons and shields that can withstand stellar radiation. Your primitive ships would be destroyed in minutes. Morrison stepped up beside the Admiral. Sir, may I suggest you scan our weapon systems before making such claims? Krexmal's eyes narrowed. I do not need to scan the weapons of inferior beings. But very well, let us see what toys you have brought to this battle. The bridge fell silent as the Vorthan sensors swept over the human fleet. Parker monitored the scans, watching as the alien technology tried to understand human weapons. After several minutes, Krexmal's expression changed from contempt to confusion. These readings cannot be correct, he muttered. Your weapons appear to be ... kinetic projectiles, chemical explosives. Such primitive technology should be useless against modern defenses. Commander, Those primitive weapons are fired by magnetic accelerators that can propel projectiles at significant fractions of light speed, Lisa explained calmly. Each of our ships carries nuclear warheads with yields measured in megatons. Our armor is designed to withstand impacts from space debris traveling at orbital velocities. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Krexmal's face. Impossible. No species develops such crude weapons when energy technology is available. We develop them because we come from a world where crude weapons are often the most effective, Morrison replied. We call it Earth. Perhaps you should look it up in your databases. The Vorthan commander's console chimed, and he looked down at the display. His face went pale as he read the preliminary scans of the human ships. The armor was impossibly thick. The weapons were unlike anything in the galactic database, and the power signatures suggested reactor technology far beyond Vorthan capabilities. This changes nothing, Krexmal said, but his voice lacked its earlier confidence. You are still outnumbered. Numbers will tell in the end, Lisa nodded slowly. Commander, let me explain something about humans. We evolved on a world where everything wanted to kill us. Our weather, our animals, our environment, even our diseases were constantly trying to end our existence. We didn't become the dominant species on our planet by being peaceful. We became dominant by being better at violence than anything else. She stepped closer to the screen, her voice taking on a harder edge. We've spent our entire history fighting wars, perfecting weapons, and learning how to survive against impossible odds. When we build a military fleet, we build it to fight outnumbered and win. When we train soldiers, we train them to face death and keep fighting. The bridge of the UES Endeavour was silent as Lisa delivered her ultimatum. You have 1 hour to withdraw from this system. If you're still here when that hour is up, you'll discover why attacking innocent people while humans are watching is the last mistake you'll ever make. Krexmal's image flickered and disappeared as he cut the transmission. The tactical display showed the Vorthan fleet beginning to move into battle formation, their weapons powering up as they prepared for combat. Well, Morrison said quietly, so much for diplomacy. Lisa turned to address her crew. All hands, battle stations. Signal the fleet to assume attack formation. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity is capable of. The human fleet began to move, 15 ships against 67, carrying the hopes of 2 civilizations and the fury of Earth's finest warriors. The battle for Kepler 442b was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. The alien fleet spread out, like a giant net, with their heaviest ships positioned to deliver maximum firepower against the smaller human force. Enemy fleet is moving into position, reported Lieutenant Commander Steve Parker. They're using standard galactic battle tactics. Heavy ships in the center, support vessels on the flanks, fighters providing screening cover. Captain Jake Morrison studied the enemy formation with experienced eyes. They're treating this like a conventional space battle. They expect us to meet them head-on and trade shots until one side breaks. That's exactly what they expect, Lisa agreed. Which is why we're going to do something completely different. Commander Torres, are all ships ready? Commander Amy Torres checked her console, confirming the status of every vessel in the fleet. All ships report ready for combat. Weapons are armed, shields are at maximum power, and the crews are at battle stations. The communication system crackled to life as Fleet Commander Krexmal's face appeared on the main screen once more. His scarred features were twisted with anger and contempt as he delivered his final ultimatum. Humans, your hour has expired. You have chosen to stand with the weak against the strong. The Vorthan Empire will teach you the price of such foolishness. Prepare to die. Lisa stepped forward, her voice calm and steady. Commander, you still have time to withdraw. This is your last chance to avoid unnecessary bloodshed. Krexmal's laugh was filled with malice. Bloodshed? Yes, there will be bloodshed, but it will be yours, not ours. Fire! The Vorthan fleet opened fire simultaneously. 67 ships, unleashing their energy weapons in a coordinated barrage. Brilliant beams of concentrated plasma streaked across space, converging on the human fleet with devastating intensity. The weapons were designed to overwhelm shields and vaporize armor, the standard method of galactic warfare. The energy beams struck the human ships and exploded in brilliant flashes of light. The Vorthons expected to see the enemy vessels torn apart, their hulls cracking under the assault. Instead, they watched in stunned disbelief as the human ships emerged from the energy storm completely undamaged. "Impossible!" Krexmal roared from his command center. "Nothing can withstand that level of concentrated fire." On the bridge of the UES Endeavour, Lieutenant Nicole Hayes monitored the shield status with professional calm. "Minor fluctuations in the forward shields, Admiral. All systems are operating within normal parameters." Morrison allowed himself a small smile. "Their energy weapons are designed to fight ships with energy-based defenses. Our shields were built to handle solar radiation, cosmic rays, and the electromagnetic pulse from nuclear explosions." Lisa nodded. The human fleet had been designed for survival in the harsh environment of space, where radiation and particle bombardment were constant threats. Weapons that could devastate ships built for peaceful exploration were barely noticeable against vessels designed for war. "Return fire," she ordered. "Show them what real weapons look like." The human response was swift and terrible. The UES Endeavors Weapons Officer, Commander Alex Johnson, personally oversaw the deployment of humanity's most devastating weapons. The ship's railgun systems came online, magnetic coils charging with enough power to accelerate projectiles to incredible velocities. "Firing solution locked," Johnson reported. "Targeting the lead Vorthon battleship, railgun charged and ready." "Fire," Lisa commanded. The railgun fired with a sound like thunder, launching a tungsten projectile at a significant fraction of light speed. The projectile crossed the distance between the fleets in seconds, striking the Vorthon battleship with the force of a small nuclear weapon. The alien vessel's shields, designed to deflect energy weapons, offered no protection against kinetic impact. The battleship exploded in a brilliant fireball, its hull torn apart by the sheer force of the impact. Debris scattered in all directions as the ship's reactor went critical, adding to the destruction. In an instant, 3,000 Vorthon warriors were dead. "Direct hit on target 1, Johnson reported with satisfaction. "Enemy vessel destroyed." Across the human fleet, similar scenes played out as each ship engaged the enemy with weapons the Vorthons had never encountered. The UES Defiant launched a spread of nuclear missiles, each warhead guided by advanced targeting systems that could track and intercept enemy vessels. The missiles struck 3 Vorthon cruisers simultaneously, their nuclear payloads detonating in blinding flashes of destruction. The UES Warrior deployed its electromagnetic pulse weapons, devices designed to disable enemy electronics at close range. The pulse swept across a squadron of Vorthon fighters, instantly frying their control systems and sending them tumbling helplessly through space, but it was the 3 prototype dreadnoughts that delivered the most devastating blows. The UES Titan, UES Goliath, and UES Leviathan were humanity's newest and most powerful weapons, each one carrying railgun systems that could crack a moon in half. When they fired in unison, the result was catastrophic. 3 more Vorthon battleships died in the space of seconds, their hulls pierced by projectiles traveling at relativistic speeds. The alien ships simply disintegrated under the impact, their armor and shields useless against weapons that relied on raw kinetic energy rather than exotic particles. "Status report," Lisa ordered as the first exchange of fire ended. Torres checked her displays, tallying the results of the engagement. Enemy losses: 6 heavy battleships, 4 cruisers, and 12 fighters. Our losses: 0. Minor damage to the UES Warrior's forward shields. The tactical display showed the devastating results of the human attack. In less than 5 minutes, the Vorthon fleet had lost nearly 20% of its strength without inflicting any significant damage on the human ships. The alien formation was beginning to waver as ship commanders realized they were facing an enemy unlike anything they had encountered before. "They're trying to adjust their tactics," Parker reported. "The surviving ships are falling back to regroup." Morrison studied the enemy movements with professional interest. "They're confused. Their sensors are telling them that we're using primitive weapons, but the results speak for themselves. They don't understand how projectile weapons can be so effective." Lisa activated the communication system, addressing the Vorthan fleet directly. "Fleet Commander Krexmal, you've seen what our weapons can do. You still have time to withdraw. Don't throw away more lives for a lost cause." Krexmal's face appeared on the screen, his expression a mixture of rage and disbelief. "What manner of demons are you? Those weapons should be useless against modern defenses." "They're not useless," Lisa replied calmly. "They're just different. We don't use energy weapons because we've found that sometimes the old ways are the best ways. A chunk of metal, traveling at near light speed, doesn't care about your shields or your armor." The Vorthan commander's eyes blazed with fury. "Trickery! You use forbidden weapons, devices banned by galactic law?" "There are no laws against kinetic weapons," Morrison interjected. "Your galactic community simply never thought to use them. That's your mistake, not ours." Lisa stepped forward, her voice taking on a harder edge. "Commander, your empire has spent centuries conquering peaceful worlds. You've grown soft, fighting enemies who can't fight back. Today, you're facing warriors from a world where everything tried to kill us. We learned to survive by being better at violence than anything else in the universe." The communication cut off as Krexmal terminated the transmission. The tactical display showed the Vorthan fleet regrouping, their remaining ships forming a tighter formation as they prepared for another attack. "They're not going to give up," Morrison observed. "Pride won't let them retreat after losing so many." "Ships," Lisa nodded. "Then we'll have to teach them a lesson they won't forget. All ships, prepare for the second wave. Show them what happens when you threaten innocent people while humans are watching." The human fleet moved into attack formation, 15 ships against the remaining 47 Vorthan vessels. The battle was far from over, but the outcome was no longer in doubt. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's entry into the galactic community would be written in fire and steel, and that the warriors of Earth would never abandon those who called for help. The Vorthans had expected to face helpless prey. Instead, they had awakened the most dangerous predators the galaxy had ever seen, and the hunters were about to become the hunted. By one in his 50 years of military service, he had never seen such devastating firepower unleashed so quickly. "Report from the fleet," his tactical officer said, his voice shaking. "The humans are using weapons we don't understand. Our shields are useless against their projectile weapons." Krexmal slammed his fist on his command console. "Impossible. No species in the galaxy uses such primitive technology. There must be a logical explanation." On the bridge of the UES Endeavour, Admiral Lisa Grant watched the enemy fleet's hesitation with satisfaction. The Vorthans were learning what every human military academy taught in the first week. The most advanced weapon is useless if it can't hit its target or penetrate its defenses. "They're trying to maintain distance," reported Commander Amy Torres. "They want to use their range advantage to wear us down." Captain Jake Morrison studied the enemy formation. Classic galactic warfare. Stand off and trade shots until one side runs out of ammunition or loses too many ships. They still don't understand what they're facing. Lisa activated the fleet communication system. "All ships, prepare for combat maneuver, Alpha 7. We're going to show them why humans don't fight." Fair. The human fleet suddenly accelerated, their advanced engines propelling them toward the Vorthan formation at incredible speed. The alien commanders watched in shock as the smaller human force charged directly into their midst, ignoring the crossfire. From dozens of enemy weapons, they're committing suicide, one Vorthan captain reported over the communication channels. No commander would order such a reckless attack. But the humans weren't being reckless. They were using tactics developed in the brutal wars of Earth's history, where survival meant adapting faster than the enemy could respond. As the human ships closed the distance, their defensive systems proved their worth once again. Chief Engineer Laura Martinez worked frantically at her console aboard the UES Endeavour, managing the ship's power distribution with the skill of a master craftsman. "Rerouting power from life support to shields," she reported. "We can maintain both weapons and defenses at maximum efficiency for another hour." The Vorthan weapons fired continuously, filling space with deadly energy beams. But the human ships had been designed for exactly this kind of punishment. Their reactors, built to withstand the harsh environment of space, could provide power levels that galactic technology couldn't match. "Their power systems are failing," Lieutenant Commander Steve Parker observed as he monitored the enemy fleet. "Vorthan ships are designed for short, decisive battles. They can't maintain this level of fire for extended periods." The human fleet reached point-blank range and unleashed hell. At close distance, their weapons became even more devastating. The railguns fired continuously, sending tungsten projectiles through enemy hulls like bullets through paper. Nuclear missiles detonated in brilliant flashes, each explosion taking out multiple targets, but it was the boarding actions that truly terrified the Vorthans. Marine Colonel Ryan Brooks had been waiting for this moment, and when several damaged Vorthan vessels tried to surrender, he was ready to act. "Boarding teams, go!" Brooks commanded over the Marine communication channel. Human Marines launched from their ships in heavily armored assault pods, designed to survive impacts with enemy hulls. The pods crashed through the Vorthan ship armor like meteors, delivering their deadly cargo directly into the enemy vessels. The Marines that emerged were unlike anything the Vorthans had ever seen. They wore powered armor that could withstand vacuum exposure and energy weapon fire. Their weapons were designed for close combat in hostile environments, where failure meant death. Sergeant Mike Kelly led the first boarding team onto a Vorthan cruiser, his assault rifle ready for action. The corridors of the alien ship were filled with smoke and the smell of burning electronics. The Vorthan crew, evolved from a peaceful garden world, had never experienced the terror of armed humans in their natural environment. "Contact front," Kelly shouted as a group of Vorthan soldiers appeared at the end of the corridor. The aliens raised their energy weapons, but the Marine was faster. His rifle fired kinetic rounds that punched through Vorthan armor like it was made of paper. The aliens fell back in panic, their military training useless against an enemy that fought with such brutal efficiency. They had been taught to conduct civilized warfare with rules and protocols that limited unnecessary violence. The humans fought to win, using every advantage their harsh world had given them. Meanwhile, Admiral Grant was coordinating with the Zephyrian forces on the planet below. The peaceful aliens were watching the battle with amazement, seeing their world defended by warriors they had never imagined could exist. "Admiral Grant," Zixan's voice came through the communication system, "we're monitoring the battle from our command center. Your tactics are unlike anything in our military databases. How do you coordinate such complex maneuvers?" "Practice," Lisa replied simply. "Humans have been fighting wars for thousands of years. We've learned that the side that adapts fastest usually wins." Commander Torres was already teaching the Zephyrians basic human combat principles in real time. "Focus your defensive fire on damaged enemy ships. Don't waste shots on vessels that are already retreating. Force them to choose between saving their damaged ships or continuing the attack." The Zephyrian defense forces, though inexperienced in warfare, quickly grasped the logic of human tactics. Their planetary defense guns began targeting wounded Vorthan vessels, forcing the enemy fleet to spread their efforts between attacking the humans and protecting their own damaged ships. The battle raged for another hour, but the outcome was no longer in doubt. The human fleet moved through the Vorthan formation like a pack of wolves, isolating and destroying enemy ships with ruthless efficiency. Every human vessel worked in perfect coordination, their crews trained for exactly this. kind of multi-target engagement. Enemy fleet is breaking up, Parker reported. Multiple ships are trying to retreat to hyperspace jump points. Morrison watched the tactical display with professional satisfaction. They're finally realizing they can't win. Typical bully behavior. Tough when they're picking on the weak, but they run when they face real opposition. But Admiral Grant wasn't finished. She opened a communication channel to the surviving Vorthan ships, her voice carrying across the battlefield with absolute authority. Attention Vorthan fleet. This is Admiral Grant. Your attack on the Zephyrian colony has failed. You have two choices: surrender and be treated according to the laws of war, or continue fighting and be destroyed. You have 5 minutes to decide. Fleet Commander Krexmall's face appeared on the screen one last time, his expression a mixture of rage and defeat. Behind him, his bridge crew worked frantically to control fires and repair damaged systems. You fight without honor, he snarled. Using such barbaric weapons and tactics, the galaxy will hear of this treachery. Lisa's expression hardened. Commander, there's no honor in attacking peaceful civilians. You came here expecting an easy victory over helpless farmers. Instead, you found warriors who fight for something more important than conquest. She leaned forward, her voice carrying the weight of absolute conviction. The galaxy is about to learn that humanity doesn't start fights, but we always finish them. Your empire picked the wrong species to threaten. The communication ended as Krexmall's ship exploded, struck by a railgun round from the Uz-I Titan. The remaining Vorthan vessels, seeing their commander's fate, began transmitting surrender signals. All enemy ships are surrendering or retreating. Torres reported, the battle is over. Lisa looked around the bridge at her crew, seeing the pride and exhaustion in their faces. They had just fought humanity's first interstellar battle and won a decisive victory against overwhelming odds. Signal the fleet, she ordered. Well done, everyone. Today we showed the galaxy what Earth's children are capable of. The human fleet hung in space above the Zephyrian world, victorious but vigilant. They had answered a call for help and delivered justice with overwhelming force. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity had announced its arrival with thunder and lightning. Alien fleet that had threatened 40 million innocent lives was now nothing more than scattered debris and a handful of damaged vessels transmitting surrender codes. Final casualty report. She requested from Commander Amy Torres. Torres checked her displays one last time before delivering the numbers that would shock the galaxy. Enemy losses: 43 vessels destroyed, 8 vessels captured, 16 vessels retreated with heavy damage. Enemy casualties estimated at over 80,000 dead or wounded. And our losses? Lisa asked, though she already knew the answer. 0 ships lost. Minor damage to 3 vessels. 17 wounded crew members, no fatalities. Captain Jake Morrison shook his head in amazement. 67 enemy ships against 15 of ours, and we didn't lose a single vessel. The galaxy is going to have trouble believing these numbers. The communication system activated, and the grateful face of Veltar appeared on the main screen. The Zephyrian administrator's blue skin seemed to glow with relief and wonder as he addressed the human fleet. Admiral Grant, there are no words to express our gratitude. You have saved 40 million lives today. The children of New Haven Colony will grow up free because of your courage. Lisa smiled warmly at the alien leader. Mr. Veltar, we were honored to answer your call for help. No innocent people should face extinction while good beings stand by and do nothing. Behind Veltar, other Zephyrian officials gathered to witness this historic moment. Zixan, the defense coordinator, stepped forward with obvious excitement. Admiral, our communication arrays are receiving signals from across the galaxy. News of this battle is spreading faster than we thought possible. Dozens of species are requesting immediate contact with humanity. Lieutenant Commander Steve Parker confirmed the report from his station. She's right, Admiral. I'm detecting communication attempts on over 50 different frequencies. The whole galaxy wants to talk to us. Morrison moved to the tactical display, studying the incoming signals. Look at these source coordinates. We're getting calls from the Altarian Republic, the Centauri Federation, even the neutral trade worlds. Everyone wants to know who the humans are and where we came from, Lisa considered the implications. Humanity had planned for first contact, but not like this. They had expected to meet other species through peaceful exploration, not by destroying one of the galaxy's most feared military powers. The situation required careful handling. Dr. Karen White to the bridge, she announced over the ship's communication system within minutes. The communication specialist who had first detected the Zephyrian distress call arrived on the bridge. Karen looked overwhelmed by the magnitude of what her quick thinking had set in motion. Doctor, you started all this when you forwarded that alien transmission to Earth Command, Lisa said. I think it's appropriate that you help us establish formal communication with the galactic community. Karen nodded, moving to the communication console with nervous excitement. Admiral, I'm detecting a priority signal from something called the Galactic Council. The transmission is coming from a massive space station in the Vega system. Put it through, Lisa ordered. The main screen shifted to show an impressive chamber filled with representatives from dozens of different species. At the center sat a being that looked like a tall, thin humanoid with silver skin and large black eyes. When it spoke, its voice carried the authority of ages. I am Chancellor Morden of the Galactic Council. We have monitored the battle at Kepler 442b with great interest. The species known as humans has achieved something unprecedented in galactic history. Morrison stepped forward. What do you mean, Chancellor? In 3,000 years of recorded galactic history, no species has ever defeated a Vorthan fleet in open battle. The Vorthan Empire has been expanding for decades, conquering peaceful worlds and enslaving their populations. Today you stop them. Lisa felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. Chancellor, we came here to help innocent people. We had no idea of the larger implications. Chancellor Morden's expression changed to something that might have been a smile. Admiral Grant, the Galactic Council formally requests that humanity accept emergency membership in our organization. Your species has proven that it possesses the strength and moral courage necessary to defend peaceful civilizations. The bridge fell silent as the magnitude of the offer sank in. Humanity was being invited to join the galactic community not as junior members, but as protectors and defenders. There's more, the Chancellor continued. Given the decisive nature of your victory and the advanced capabilities of your military forces, the Council offers humanity a permanent seat on the Security Council with full voting rights on matters of galactic security. Torres looked up from her console with excitement. Admiral, I'm detecting quantum communication signals from Earth. President Martinez is requesting immediate contact. Lisa nodded to Karen, who quickly established the connection. President Maria Martinez appeared on a secondary screen, her expression a mixture of pride and concern. Admiral Grant, the entire world is watching. Are you telling me that humanity just became a major galactic power by accident? Not by accident, Madam President, Lisa replied. By doing what's right. We received a call for help, and we answered it. The consequences were beyond anything we expected. Chancellor Morden spoke again, addressing both the Admiral and the President. Humanity's entry into the galactic community will reshape the balance of power across known space. Already, 17 species have requested human protection from various threats. Your reputation as defenders of the innocent is spreading rapidly. Fleet Commander Krexmal, now a prisoner aboard the UES Endeavour, was brought to the bridge under Marine Guard. The scarred Vorthan leader looked broken, unable to comprehend how his mighty fleet had been destroyed by a species he had never heard of. Explain this to me, he demanded, looking at Admiral Grant with a mixture of hatred and confusion. How does a species from an unknown world possess such devastating military power? Lisa studied the defeated alien commander with something approaching pity. Commander, you and your empire made the same mistake that bullies always make. You grew strong by attacking the weak, and you forgot that somewhere in the galaxy there might be someone stronger than you. She gestured toward the tactical display showing Earth's location. We come from a world that tried to kill us every single day. Our weather, our animals, our diseases, even our food was dangerous. We survived by becoming better at violence than anything else on our planet. Morrison added his own observation. Your empire conquered garden worlds filled with peaceful farmers and artists. We come from a death world where everything evolved to fight and survive. That's the difference between us. Dr. Karen White had been busy establishing communication protocols with the dozens of species requesting contact. Admiral, I'm receiving formal diplomatic requests from the Andromedan Trade Union, the Spiral Armed Defense League, and something called the Rimworld Alliance. They all want to establish formal relations with humanity. Chancellor Morden smiled again. Admiral, I believe your species is about to discover that being the galaxy's newest protector power comes with both great opportunities and great responsibilities. Lisa looked around the bridge at her crew, seeing the pride and determination in their faces. They had come to save one world and ended up changing the entire galaxy. Signal the fleet, she ordered. Prepare for extended operations. It looks like we're going to be staying in this part of space for a while. The communication from Earth Command crackled to life as General Paul Davis appeared on screen. Admiral, we're already mobilizing additional fleets. It seems the galaxy needs more help than we thought. Sir, request permission to establish a permanent base in the Kepler 442b system, Lisa said. If we're going to be protectors, we need a forward operating base. Permission granted, Davis replied immediately. The construction ships are already on their way. Veltar stepped forward, his voice filled with emotion. Admiral, the Zephyrian, people formally request a permanent alliance with humanity. We offer our world as a base of operations for your noble mission. Lisa extended her hand to the alien administrator, a gesture that would be remembered throughout galactic history. Mr. Veltar, humanity accepts your alliance. Together we'll make sure that no peaceful world ever faces the threat of conquest again. As the human fleet settled into orbit around their new allied world, communication signals continued pouring in from across the galaxy. Species that had lived in fear of the Vorthan Empire were celebrating. Peaceful civilizations that had felt helpless against aggressive neighbors were reaching out for protection. The galaxy had a new protector, and the warriors of Earth were ready to answer every call for help. The age of humanity had begun, written in fire and steel among the stars.